You're tuned in to Steve Megatron on Altered Geek.
Do you start your day deciding which video game you're gonna play? You fight with your family over which is better, Marvel or DC. The geek of all of your friends, cause you know what Batman beats Superman. This is the right place to be, so turn up the volume cause you're an altered geek. Altered geek. Get altered. Geeky. Altered geek. From Star Wars to Star Trek, comics to tech. Altered geek. Get altered. Geeky. Altered geek. Pull up a chair cause you're an altered geek.
Hello and welcome to Altered Geek. I'm your host, Steve Megatron Phillips, and joining me is no one, because unfortunately when the night I was going to record this, TFT1 Mike was ill. Birdman Dodd is still recovering in the hospital. Michael Powers, I do plan to have back in the future, and I just honestly didn't have any time to get anybody else as a co-host. So I'm going to be flying this one solo today. To talk about quite a few other things that I think are interesting, as well as some of the awesome trailers that dropped during Super Bowl Sunday. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed the new theme song for the show. I recently got this from Fiverr.com. And I put out a request for a new theme, and I had like this blanket idea of what I wanted. And I'm no musician, so I have no idea how to put this or to write lyrics. I realize that it's not probably as difficult as I think it is to write the lyrics, but I by no means know how to even write a poem properly. I could write a story, but I can't write any of that. So it boggled my mind enough. So I just said, I want the show name in it, I want the slogan, and then I want, some of the kind of base topics that sometimes pop up. And I just kind of gave blanket, TV, video game, stuff like that. And so I was approached by about 8 people for this theme. And as I cycled through, certain ones didn't have samples on their page, which, sometimes they don't. I get that. I mean, I don't have all that much on my Fiverr page. I don't really have samples of much of anything, even when somebody's asking for it. I just send them to a link to, Geekcast Radio or something like that, and I'm like, just check out the images I did here. This is what I did. And so I sent out a bunch of, direct messages to some of the people. Some of them I was able to knock off the list right away. I had about 4 that were not knocked off the list. 2 of them took about a day and a half to get back to me, which if anybody knows me, I'm kind of an impulsive, impatient person. When I get something stuck in my head and I want it now. Which not necessarily is the right idea, but that's just kind of my nature. If it doesn't get now, it won't happen. And then it'll eat at me until I get something. It's kind of that way with me. So I put out this call. 2 of the people didn't get back to me. One of them, I just didn't care for the vocals on it whatsoever, on some of their sample work. Or the style of music, and I didn't see that meshing real well. Because I'd made this mistake before on Fiverr with a theme, and I ended up going back to something I already had. So I really wanted to make it something I enjoyed, and I'll get to the person I used in just a moment, but I gave the Twig intro, which... When Twig came out with, and that's This Week in Geek, for those unfamiliar, most of you should be, but I really enjoy their theme, which I'll play right after I get done with this before I actually introduce the person, but it's been one of those themes I've enjoyed hearing on their show, and I've always wanted to replicate it. because it touches on all the geek culture. It's kind of got a rock sound to it. It sounds really awesome. And that was done by like Pierce Dirks on, This Week in Geek when he was a part of the group. So, and they're still using it all this time later. And I was like, man, I wish I had something iconic for Altered Geek. Because Geekcast Radio, we got one from Fiverr sometime last year. And I was very pleased with it because they meshed some of the Justice League sounds into it. And it's completely original and it's fully ours. So, but this one I wanted some lyrics, and I'm not, like I said, very well versed in that department. So I said, this is what I want. This is what I'd like it to have. If it doesn't fit it, great. If it doesn't, whatever. But just see what you can come up with. And the very next day, I had a sample, and then I was provided with one with vocals, one without, so I can use it for the closing of the show, as well as a halftime one, which is for shorter instances. So like I could use it on my YouTube channel, or I can use it on days where I don't want to use the full intro for the show. I got that. But just before I get to the person and all the information, I'm going to cut it to a quick break to the Twig intro. And we'll be back after this.
Did you grow up with the NES, PlayStation, Star Wars, cartoons, and 80s TV? Do you like to think who would win in a fight between Batman and the Master Chief? Comics, games, movies, music, and TV. They're gonna tell you everything you need. Superheroes or not, they got your back. They're gonna save the world of geeks. Comics, games, movies, music, and TV. They're gonna tell you everything you need. Superheroes or not, they got your back. They're gonna save the world of This Week in Geek. This Week in Geek.
So as you can hear, that was the Twig intro, and so I commissioned audio by Alyssa on Fiverr, so it's fiverr.com/audio by Alyssa, Alyssa. That's in the episode post, just below the episode description, so if you want to contract her for some awesome work, that's where you can get a hold of her. So it was a very nice experience. Got the all the files, got a nice geeky conversation out of it, and so I may be going back eventually for some other content, either for this show or another show that I do. So we'll just see what happens. But yeah, I was very pleased with the intro, and I actually spent an entire 5-6 hours yesterday turning it into a music video on YouTube and on Twitter, which you can find by going at Altered Geek on Twitter. It should be the most recent post on there, as well as on the YouTube channel at Altered Geek Entertainment. So yeah, just check that stuff out. It's I had a bit of fun trying to get the timing down for the words, for the lyrics of the vocals in the actual clip, and trying to get things that corresponded with it and also fit the narrative of the show. So it came out very, very, very well after all was said and done. It's actually the first video project I've put together in a little bit. Probably the most complicated since some assignments last semester, which, speaking of last semester, that stuff's all done. I put together a new demo reel from all of that content and everything I've made up to this point over the last 4 years, and sent it off to a few places, so we'll see what happens. Maybe some side work or something. But then, of course, we have this semester, which is radio and television production. so far, we had to do an interview on... You just had to do a radio field interview, which had to be, I think, between a minute and 30 seconds. And I was like, I really don't want to go outside. Plus, I really don't get any time to leave the house when it would be at all possible for me to record anything. So I'm having to delve into people I've already interviewed or people I know, which is kind of a no-no in the assignments for the class, because the whole goal is to get you to talk to people you don't know. So the first one was a radio field interview. I interviewed TFG and Mike, which was entertaining. And I asked him 3 questions. I edited it down. I had to cut down part of his conversation so I could fit it in that minute and 30-second time slot. And then I turned it in and got full credit, which thank you again, TFG and Mike. And then for the second one, it's a little wrong, but it's not. I took episode 56 of Altered Geek. We had to do a radio news package. So we had to write out everything that was in the interview, and it had to be condensed down to between 35 and 50 seconds, which is almost impossible to do when you're trying to cut down conversation and have something meaningful. And so we had to cover an event. And I was like, I've done Grand Con. So I took the Grand Con clip. I basically wrote an intro for it in radio news style, and then I cut to a clip of Mike Powers because, as everybody knows, I went for the Saturday editions of Grand Con, but I skipped out on the Sunday editions. This last year I didn't go at all. Next year I won't be going because I won't be in Michigan. But I took part of his conversation about what they were talking about garnering attention to the table on Sunday, and I cut it down from... I found a 2-minute segment inside, and I cut it down to 35 seconds. So I had literally 15 seconds to get everything I needed out in my stuff, which is a little impossible, and I had to speed up the sound of my voice at the very end, and then add on the whatever I was talking about, and it fit within the 50 seconds, and I got full credit on that too. So that was kind of a bonus thing. So the next one I have to do is a radio... it's a sports radio package. And then I have to do a NPR news package. So the sports one has to be up to 50 seconds. The radio, the NPR has to be 2 minutes and 30 seconds to 3 minutes, which I have no idea what I'm doing for that yet, because I have some ideas for both, but I'm not really sure if I want to do either one of them or not. And I'm thinking of where I can pull some of this information from. Because, again, I have no time to leave the house between my job and my family. There's just no possible way for me to leave besides that in school. So I did that, or I will be doing that. And then after that, we're moving into video. So we're going to do a TV news package practice, which I believe has to be a minute or a minute 30, something like that. And that one's just, and mind you, none of these assignments can be the same, so it's going to be a little difficult for me to take that one. So I got to think of what I'm going to do for that as well. And then the final one I'm going to use my church for, because it's a radio, or it's a television news package, like a finale one, that's supposed to be a final production one. And it's got to be 2 to 3 minutes, so I'm like, well, I'll just talk to my pastor and have something that the church is doing talked about on the video. And then after that, what they're going to do in the class is they're going to have us actually put together a mock newscast, because they have tables that look kind of like that. And they're going to put us in front of the green screen. They're going to have people doing news anchor, and then off to the side, and then having the little... a picture, and then they move into the screen and kind of cut back and forth, so it'll be kind of like a television thing. I have an idea what it's all about. I've not physically done this class before, but I've done classes that are above this class, so it's going to be kind of a piece of cake for me to walk through this, being this my last semester. But I'm kind of stoked for it, only because it'll be some interesting new stuff, plus... what I'm doing right now, I'm working for a television radio network even though it's remotely. So it's all relative. So moving on. Do you want to interact with the show? Well, you can get a hold of us in the following ways. You can email us, feedback@alteredgeek.com, or you can fill out the form on the website on alteredgeek.com. You can also get on the episode post on alteredgeek.com and make your comments there. You can, of course, get a hold of us on the social media, Facebook @AlteredGeek, or on Twitter @AlteredGeek. And, of course, you can find the show on the following locations. You can get it on iTunes, on Google Play, on Stitcher, and on TuneIn, Blog Talk Radio, as well as alteredgeek.com. And now, back to the show. I have, of course, various pieces of news. Battlefield 1 soundtrack is now available on vinyl edition. For those that don't know, I'm kind of a huge fan of Battlefield 1, and the music is stellar because it's all orchestra. And I really like it. I found the soundtrack stuff on YouTube for a while. But it's not fully the soundtrack because it was during the alpha time. I found somebody that had ripped it from the alpha. So this is actually kind of nice. So it's going to have the end of round glory play, the multiplayer victory, the single player war stories, the soundtracks of everything. So it's going to have 17 Battlefield 1 tracks, a 12-inch collectible poster, clear PVC Battlefield jacket, and a download card with 8 bonus digital tracks. So it's on this vinyl one. So yeah, I would do this, except I'm not going to have any use for a vinyl. You can download it though, for digital download on iTunes, Apple Music, and Spotify. So there is that as well. So I might pick this up because I really enjoyed the soundtrack. It's kind of fun to listen to in the car. So then, of course, we get to the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 trailer, which is pretty funny. Adding some of the additions of the new characters, Baby Groot, which is quite humorous in this. He kind of makes Rocket look like the grown-up in this situation, and he's telling Groot, Rocket is, don't hit this detonator. And he's like, this one? And then, pointing at it, and he's like, no, not that one. And then he, runs through a tunnel with the detonator, in his hand. So it's kind of humorous. And then he, thrashes some guy, but... so it's pretty good. I think the movie's going to be pretty fun. Then we get Pirates of the Caribbean 5, which most people have forgotten all about the entire franchise at this point. But they show Orlando Bloom returning as his character from the original trilogy, coming back with the Flying Dutchman. And you've got Jack Sparrow, of course. He's searching for the Trident of Poseidon, is what the plot is. And the movie's called Dead Man Tell No Tales, because basically they're all dead men. You got Jeffrey Rush playing the same character again. You got Javier Bardem playing in this as Captain Salazar. Jeffrey Rush is Barbossa. Orlando Bloom, Will Turner, so on. But it looks like it'll be interesting, better than the previous film, which was total and utter garbage. But Jeffrey Rush still is playing kind of like an honorable guard of the Royal Navy when he's boarded by Salazar. So that'll be interesting. And then the only shot that you get of Jack Sparrow is he's completely covered in mud, which I don't know what the situation is surrounding that, but it's going to be interesting. So I will be seeing that as well. Moving into some other movie. You get another teaser for Wonder Woman. We pretty much know what that's going to be. Another Logan one, which gives away too much. And then get one of Lego Movie, Wayne Manor Cribs. Enough said on all those. Super Bowl 5 of Transformers 5, or not Super Bowl 5, Transformers 5 Super Bowl trailer. You get to see various things. You get to see Evil Prime, where his eyes do like this kind of flash-y thing. So, yeah. I'm not quite sure what to think about this yet, but I'll reserve judgment until I actually see it. Of course, we get some Samurai Jack Season 5 trailer, which kind of shows the hero returning, and it's supposed to take place like some 50 years after the finale of Season 4. It's supposed to be darker, more theatrical, kind of like a giant episode, split up into, individual segments. And it's going to be on Toonami, Adult Swim, starting Saturday, March 11th at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. So, yeah, the new trailer that it shows off for this, it's been 50 years since we saw Samurai Jack, and time has not been kind to him. A coup has destroyed every time portal, and Jack has stopped aging, a side effect of time travel. It seems he is cursed to just roam the land for all eternity. Samurai Jack premieres, again on that same time. And they took away, like, his samurai look. Like, he's very grizzled. He's got long hair. He's got a beard, a mustache. He's got his sword. He's just kind of, looks like he's been broken as a man. Like, he just doesn't know what to do. So he's still, it's kind of a tale of redemption in a sense. So I'll definitely give it a shot. But it's because I watched most of the original. I just didn't watch all of it. But it was a pretty cool show. So the tone of it's going to be a little darker. So it'll be kind of interesting. But it's going to be 10 episodes. So stay tuned for that. Some interesting non-trailer stuff that's dropped is 2019, Disneyland and Walt Disney World will be opening Star Wars themed lands. So, yeah. I cannot wait to see what they do with it. Although I don't really know what it's going to entail. It's supposed to be, as far as it says, this will be the largest single-themed land expansions ever at both Disneyland and Walt Disney World Resort. Spanning 14 acres, these two lands broke ground in April 2016 and will bring Star Wars characters and their stories to life like never before. This brand new planet, one of the last stops before wild space, is sure to be out of this galaxy. We can't wait to take control of the Millennium Falcon. And it shows, like, the Millennium Falcon and some, like, aspects of what they plan on doing with it. So it's going to be a sight to behold when it does open. I just wonder what characters are going to be there. That'll be the telling point for me on that. And since we're already talking Star Wars, there was a video that dropped earlier this week called One Epic Battle, and it's got, and I've never heard of this. Like, I've seen Bat and the Sons stuff, but this is along the same kind of route of it's like a battle to the death. And they're the ones that did, it's YouTuber Nukazuka who did the Super Mario Underworld, where Mario, it shows the game and he jumps through a hole and lands in this land where there's like hundreds and hundreds of dead Mario, and every Mario thing is like a perverted version of its former self. And it's all trying to kill him. And then there's this Luigi that's down there that's like basically the undead, and he's eating the corpses of all the Marios. But he eventually gets out. But it's just an interesting video. Anyway, so they did a video along the same lines with Darth Vader versus Buzz Lightyear. It's pretty brutal, but you'll kind of guess who wins just because of the instances of what the characters are. And then there is a guy that plays like Woody in the end, so it's a little bit interesting. So, yeah, those are the fun little videos that I found. There's also this channel called Viva La Dirt League, which is based out of Australia, I think. And I just saw this like the other day, and there was this video called Chicken, Epic NPC Man Vidley. And it shows this guy kicking a chicken. And it's supposed to... It dawned on me what the game is supposed to be. It's basically Skyrim. They're all in the land of Skyrim. Like, people hitting the house can start it on fire, and then there's... this guy kicks a chicken, and then, like, the whole town comes after to kill him. So it's just... It's fun to watch. Because you get this guy that's just standing there, and he really doesn't say much, but he's kind of the NPC guy that just has the exclamation and tells you stuff or gives you quests and whatnot. But it's interesting to watch. So be sure to check that out as well. Dragon Ball Super is going to be dropping in English for the Americas very, very soon. And I'm very excited about this because I enjoyed Dragon Ball Z quite a bit. Dragon Ball GT, I enjoyed the Super Saiyan 4. But I just don't like the show. So Dragon Ball Super is supposed to take place, after a certain point. But, again, they've got the Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, which is a ridiculous name. But there's going to be 78 episodes or more. But they're going to have the Tournament of Might, which is like the Universal Saga, Survival Saga, which they go head-to-head up against other fighters of the multiverse, and if they lose, their multiverse or their universe is destroyed. But it's because Goku wants to fight somebody stronger. And so, like, you get the Omni Kings instead of the King Kais and whatnot. But, so we'll see how that goes. I'm looking forward to it. I just got to wait until I can see it in English. I'm not going to read dubs of it. Yeah, it's definitely interesting. And I'm seeing like various things floating around about it to where where Goku could become a villain in the show because he's kind of bored to death with, while training, and he kind of just does whatever he feels like, basically like any Dragon Ball show. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm wondering if they're taking like cues from Dragon Ball Absalon for this. So, because I guess they've already set up like parallels between Goku and his brother Raditz. So I don't really know. They may turn Goku evil, which would just be kind of crap because he's supposed to be like the most optimistic character in the world. But yeah, I'm definitely excited to see the show when I can catch it. Looks like it's on Crunchyroll, whatever that is. I don't know if that's Canadian or if that's like online site or something. I'm not familiar with a lot of modern terminology or websites or stuff like that. So, but yeah, that's pretty much all the news I had. So one of the latest things floating about is a rumor and speculation on Gotham City Sirens, which I'd be okay with. I don't know. So they're saying people are trying to push for this anyway. I don't know how well it would be. I don't know whether I would watch it. It just kind of depends. So Gotham City Sirens, people are pining for Haley Bennett to be Catwoman, which I'm not all that familiar with her. She looks familiar, but I'm not sure why. It looks like she's been in... I'm trying to find something I've seen where she would be in it. She was in Equalizer with Denzel Washington. I've seen that. She was in Marley and Me. Those are the only two I've seen that she's actually been in. So anyways, they got her as a possibility that people would like to see play Catwoman should they make the movie. As well as, of course, Margot Robbie is Harley Quinn. And then people are pining for Megan Fox to be Poison Ivy. Which, if they dyed her hair red and stuff, I could see it. And then there's also been people that have been putting, like, Evan Rachel Wood as Poison Ivy as well. But if you look at Boss Logic on Twitter, he makes a lot of these, like, crazy images with... I just can't even fathom, like, how good these things are. Like, he's got a close-up of, like, it's got Deadpool inside of a box, like, inside for the movie Buried, where Ryan Reynolds is in the box, like, buried alive. Like, this is just one that was posted, like, 9 hours ago. And he's got one of him in this box with a bunch of iconic stuff. And then he's got, like, the Green Lantern DVD, like, buried in the dirt, like, a foot above him. So it's kind of humorous to me how they have this set up. And then, like, he's got ones where, that he does stuff with, like, new costume for the Flash, where he's got, different versions of the Kid Flash floating about. He's got one with Tom Brady wearing the Infinity Gauntlet. The Lady Gaga thing, and it says Spider-Man Homecoming, where she's hanging above the crowd. I don't know, and then he's got, like, Pierce Brosnan as, like, Cable on an image. Like, there's just all kinds of, like, crazy imagery on here. So the guy is, like, infinitely talented. But yeah, a lot of these things come from aspects of this. But anyways, going back to the subject at hand, these images of these three actresses to play the Gotham City Sirens, I would be down with, but, like, David Ayer is going to be doing the Gotham City Sirens, but it didn't like Suicide Squad. So I don't really know how well that's going to match up for me. Like, I didn't like Suicide Squad at all. So I guess time will tell. But yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think that's about all the geeky goodness I have this week. I mean, I guess there's one bit of thing that I could still touch on. And that is, of course, that I've sold my gaming consoles. And I don't know how many of you guys have done this too, but I've gotten to this point in my life that I'm offloading things for multiple reasons. One's because my change of beliefs, I'm getting rid of clutter and stuff that's sitting here taking up space. Stuff depending on what it is. Some of it, the severity of it. I'm slowly working down my levels of things, but so we got rid of the Nintendo Wii. I actually got rid of my 2DS first, and then got rid of my Wii, and then I got rid of my Xbox 360. The 360 probably killed me the most because I really liked the controller and I played all those games, and I did back everything up to the cloud, up to my Microsoft account. But I actually got more for, like, the Wii stuff than I did the Xbox, which was ridiculous, on trade. And my wife was like, do you want the Xbox back for that cost? And I'm like, no. I'm like, there's nothing more for me to play on it. It's not even worth me keeping. So I just was like, just get rid of it. I'm like, plus my save games are gone, so, like, there's no reason for me to want it back. I don't play games a second time if there's no save game to go back to some of my old stuff if I want it. I don't mind replaying the game from scratch. I just like the option to go between the two. So, yeah, I got rid of them. I'm officially only a PC gamer again, which has not been the case since I was about 12. When I got, well, actually, before that, I was 10. I got my first Game Boy. And then I got a Sega Genesis like 2 years later. Yeah, I know, like behind the curve. I had the Game Boy Pocket and then the Game Boy Advanced. And then I got the Sega Genesis. And then I bought a Nintendo GameCube later on. Brand new in the store. And then I later had to give that up to my brother. And then I bought another one used years later. Sold. And then I bought a used PlayStation 2. And I've sold all things for different reasons. Some because I didn't play them. Some because they took up space. Like the PS2 I got rid of solely because my memory card died. And I lost all of my save games for like 12, 13 games that I'd played. And I'm like, I'm done. And I took it to GameStop and I pawned it all. I was like, I'm done. And my wife's like, you don't want to just buy another memory card? I'm like, no, I'm done. I'm like, it frustrates me. So I'm strictly a PC gamer, more so this generation because the current level consoles are the same as PCs at this point. And I can upgrade my PC and keep playing. Whereas the consoles, they're nickel and diming you like $300-$400 every time to get something that's not as vastly superior to the previous model. So I'm done with it. Plus, I can use my Xbox controller on the computer now, so there's really no reason. Like, I have a spare Xbox controller, which is corded, and it blows because it's corded, but I don't want to spend the money to get a wireless one. I did design an Altered Geek one for, like, an Xbox One that works with, like, Windows 10. And it's wireless and everything, but that's, like, almost $100, like, just to order it from Microsoft, and I don't have that kind of money to spend on a controller. Although I would love to buy that controller. It's not in the cards for me, so I'm just going to stick with my like cheapo $30 controller that I have. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if this applies to anybody else with like the console thing. Like if like you lose your save games, does it like make or break the system for you? Like, or does it just do you keep them anyway? Do you replay them? Like, I know some people it matters, some people it doesn't. Like, just like I stated, for me, it's kind of one of those things I can't get past it. So, and then with the lack of new games, I don't really want to do it. And you have to pay to play online, which is another thing. Like, I did it for a little bit on my 360, but I'm at the point now I don't really want to spend the money. And being that nothing I played, like last time I played Battlefield 4 on the 360, barely anybody was on it, and I had to wait forever to connect to a server. And there's barely any of them left on the PC version. So I mostly play just Battlefield 1 when I play online. So I don't even know if there's Unreal Tournament like 3 servers anymore. I used to play that a long time ago too, but I guess I could try reinstalling it and see, but I really don't care at this point. And then Diablo 3, like I used to play. I know that's still on there, but I have no ambition to go back to the game. Probably wouldn't get another Diablo. I haven't played a Blizzard game since that, or really before that I played Diablo 2 and that was about it. And then in the late 90s, early 2000s I played StarCraft, which was awesome. So yeah, that's about all I got on this episode. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Altered Geek. I guess I could mention the one bit of feedback we got last episode, which was from Tim Silvers, saying that he understands why I would want to start fresh on social media. I've been considering evaluating my friends list just because I have a lot of acquaintances, and I have posted some political things after the election. I remained silent beforehand when I saw outlandish posts on my feed, but I let it go. Now I feel I need to post some honest views on topics, but I try to pick and choose, and I look for unbiased news. That's the most difficult thing in this era, is finding unbiased news or something that's like 100% legit, because it's all biased for the most part. And yeah, the starting fresh, like I trimmed my Twitter followers or people I follow by like, I knocked it down a third. I still have about another third I'd like to go. Facebook, I cut my people like 2/3. So it's vastly shorter. So if anybody's listening to this and I cut you, it's nothing personal. I was going through massively. You can always try and re-request, and I'll see, like, but sometimes I just kind of want people to just go to the fan page, and then I'll just post there, or just follow me on Twitter, because the other one's, like, for my family for the most part, so I don't really want to do that anymore, because I never use it to post. I barely post. I usually like something, or I leave stuff alone for the most part. And then Tim mentions about my conversation on the big business mergers and how they concern him. They always tell us it's better to serve the customers, but prices go up and service goes down. In some towns, you only have one choice or two choices, as it is. So large companies merging means some of those areas will have but one choice for service. He says, I'm Comcast right now. Been with them since moving almost 2 years ago. We had a good price on bundle, but the deal is up this year. I was in a 2-year contract. We have one other option, but it's DSL at 3 megabytes, whereas we can get much faster speeds with Comcast. And then he goes on to talk about Uverse and X1. And I've tried DSL, and I could get 24 megabytes, but it's the same cost as getting like 50 at Comcast, or like 25 at Comcast. So, and I hate the bundles because I don't watch television. So... and I don't have a phone. So it's a bit ridiculous for me to have to bundle just to get a cheap price. I don't mind spending like right now I spend like $59 just for 25 megabyte internet, and it sucks. I don't know. I was at 95 megabyte download speeds on my last special, and I was paying less, because I was getting 75 megabytes, and then most of the time I was getting like 90. So I could stream very easily. Now I can't even do it. So like I don't even mess with that aspect of YouTube anymore. And half my video takes forever to buffer, and it just irritates me. So, but yeah. So before I go on another tirade or another rant or whatnot, I'm going to cut it off here. So was there anything on the Super Bowl trailers that you guys enjoyed? Did you enjoy the new Altered Geek theme? What do you think on gaming consoles? And as always, get Altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks.